Hello, my wonderfuls, lovelies, and amazings. Yep, you know your name, and you're the beautifuls too. Thank you so much for joining me on I Am Maggie and I Am Maggie. And what we have been doing on this glorious channel in this glorious group is we have been doing the magic of everyday life with Maria Szepes. And we've been doing a creepy crawly slow crawl through this book to see what tools, pearls, what could help us along our way. Or if you are a helper of others, it could give you tools there too. This could also be just a good time. So we don't have to label it. No labels. This is the label-free zone. Let's enjoy ourselves. When you do get a chance, please hit like and subscribe and leave your positive comments. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so we are on chapter 22. And the chapter 22 is positive and negative people. Which one are you? I got a hunch. Okay, what kind of company do we avoid? Whose company do we seek? We have already discussed in the first chapter of this study that no one steps into our life accidentally, because whatever we experience as coincidence is the consequences of our partial blindness and actions whose antecedents we do not see, and therefore we do not recognize its logic, its circumvention, and its intention to alter our destiny. So I'm going to read that to you one more time, and I'm going to actually share a little insight too, as usual. But here we go. We have already discussed in the first chapter of the study that no one steps into our life accidentally, because whatever we experience as coincidence is the consequence of our partial blindness. That's one, partial blindness. Two, an action whose antecedents we do not see, so we have a block, or therefore we do not recognize its logic. So God the Creator is creating, and we are also choosing, and everything, the matrix moves. So, or in different levels you'll see there's a matrix and then there is none, but anyway, it's circumvention and its intention to alter our destiny. So pretty much every choice, every action, or every event alters our destiny in some way or not. And the more that we are in flow with God, His will, and our purpose in life, the more those things come true. So no matter how unpleasant our relationship becomes with the members of our environment, the calling signal for this relationship first sounded within us. Moreover, we gave it its basic note. So again, that whole everyone is us pushed out. So I'm going to take a moment to just share this. I was just listening to Greg Braden, and of course I'm not Greg Braden yet, but what he was saying is that in the tools in the early days of New Thought, when somebody was manifesting like angry people or shame or guilt, it was constantly, it's almost like don't ever use the tools to hurt others, because it's just not right to be trying to pull once you're awake, you're aware, and you have you think you have your superiority, or you have more knowledge than somebody. Our job is to share it with kindness and love. But the thing is, what he was saying is that a lot of people were pushing back on one another, saying, well, it's in you. If you're manifesting, it's in you. But Greg Braden talks about the three mirrors. And the first mirror, he was saying, and I'm just going to cover two of the three, or maybe three, but the first mirror he was basically saying is that it could be something within us. So he had some events come in with integrity, honesty, etc., and he kept thinking like, but I am honest, I do have integrity. There was one other characteristic I can't remember, but basically, you know what I'm saying, he was not in touch with some of these things. And then he learned about the second mirror, and he said that he is honest. He does have integrity and character. But then what the universe made available to him was showing him the second mirror, and basically he realized he had a huge charge around judging others for their honesty, integrity, and other things. So I want to encourage you that was a big opening for me, because a lot of us as we go on, we do know things are us pushed out, but we also know that the universe is constantly up leveling us and things can have more meaning. So you may be honest and you may have integrity, but you are manifesting these types of things, or maybe other characteristics. If you're really doing the deep dive, and so he says, if you know you've got that in you, that's where you start. But if you know that, overall, you have that integrity or honesty, take a look into the second mirror and see where you might have a huge charge amongst judging others who may have issues with forgiveness or integrity or whatever it is. And in the other one, I'm not going to be able to say this as well, the third mirror, and I'll go into this more in another video, but the third mirror was basically the story of a woman in the Bible who's walking along the road, and she's holding her meal, like how they hold their food in a bag or whatever, and it's basically leaking along the road. And the third mirror is like to not waste your purpose, to not waste your life, to use your gifts to the fullest. And so that can be much more elaborated on, but we're going to get back to this book. But I just want to encourage you as we do look within. If you are thinking, okay, something's manifesting, you're not sure how it pertains to you, try to look at the second mirror and see, wow, do I have a charge around this towards other people? Like maybe I have, maybe I've overcome poverty, but I still have a charge around judging others in poverty. Or maybe I overcame a medical issue, but I still have a really big charge around other people's medical issues, or what have you, okay? Just take a deeper dive. God will always reveal to you if you just keep seeking. Okay, so this is the reason it is our task to dissolve every such relationship. If we have already become immersed in it, then this is the subject of our examination. However, in this area, as well as in any other sphere of life, the true dissolver of karma, or sin, or rather the method of circumvention, is prophylactic. So you want to not wait till it's a full-blown infection. You don't want to get sick. You want to be prophylactic, meaning you want to boost your immune system, drink lots of fluids, get a lot of rest. Same thing with our spiritual journey. You don't want to wait till it's like turns into a full-blown, traumatic conflict. If you're starting to recognize signs, do the work prophylactically. But anyway, rather the method of circumvention is prophylactic. As a result, to the extent possible, we may use prevention here as well. Because we must understand that we have the right to alleviate, to avoid, or to transpose complications. So basically that is to alleviate is to lessen, right? If you alleviate someone's pain, you lessen them. If you alleviate their load, you lessen it. To avoid or to transpose, it can be transformed into something else or turned into another energy. We can do these to complications, right? Alleviate, avoid, or transpose. This privilege, however, is an inner rank. There is no other way to acquire it but through the strength of intellectual and moral recognition. The living force means that we have an internal measure with which we can weigh what we must accomplish and what would be a useless waste of our time and energy. So the living force means we have an internal measure with which we can weigh what we must accomplish, so what, higher order values and, purposes and things, and what would be useless waste of our time and energy. So draining ourselves through just watching TV or, not taking action on our goals, or you know, maybe delaying tasks or not fully completing them. We talked about that in another chapter to build confidence. We can weigh where our negligence begins and where our moral obligation ends. These are occasions when it is obvious that we are pouring nectar through a sieve. There are times when, so it's like a tiny little opening. There are times when when our forgiveness and carrying a burden demoralizes the one it absolves and spares. Okay, there are times when our forgiveness and carrying a burden demoralizes the one it absolves and spares. Okay, so you can put someone else down. Catering and buttressing weakness leads to no good. So kind of nourishing our wounds, or sort of like protecting our wounds, like if we are catering to them or buttressing them or supporting them, the weaknesses, leads to no good. Such is akin to coercive attempts to tune to another pitch. All right, we often have to choose the healing medication of separation if the difference in levels between two individuals proves to be unbridgeable. So if it's unbridgeable, sometimes she's saying separation is necessary. The conjunction of two such polarities is so tremendously irritating that both parties become ill, and they become enervated in both the spiritual and intellectual sense. Our responsibility to anyone extend only so far as we may be of assistance to them. So if we're just causing more harm than good, like if our intention isn't, to me it's kind of interesting in life, like you can tell when you talk to somebody or when you're working with somebody if they really want to solve the problem or have conflict resolution or whatever. And if you set that up from the beginning, hey, the whole reason we're going to work on this or talk about this is so that we can move forward and have conflict resolution. You will know the people who genuinely want to work through something with you or work to get the solution to a problem because they get to it. But sometimes you're dealing with somebody who is just going to continue to be covert and overt, dancing around, and all they want to do is keep complaining and talking about all the pain, or there's no way to ever get that bridge. There's no way, and you know, we just have to like hold space for them, but it doesn't mean you have to be their doormat. You know, you don't have to continue to let them drain your energy, but that's something to think about too. Are the people that we are working, do they really want to solve the problem? Is their intention really to resolve the conflict, etc.? If it's not, then you're literally going to be going in circles. And I call that going to the mat. You know, when somebody is really important in my life, I'm going to the mat with them. And we're not coming off that mat until we have victory, meaning resolution, and we are moving forward. And I just love teamwork when everybody's cohesive and moving towards one goal. And that's part of what we're trying to do on the earth right now too, is get us all together in our positive concepts, in our healed states, to upgrade the whole planet, because it's needed. Okay, so our responsibility to anyone extends only so far as we may be of assistance to them. As soon as, however, and despite our best intentions and attempts, we perceive that we are driving them precisely into what we wish to spare them from, leave them be. So if you are driving them away from the solution, driving them away from healing, whatever it is, don't do it. And let them go. Avoid them because some mysterious psychochemical process produced a poison between you. So that's some really good insight there, because you know, sometimes people have this idea that they are designed to help every single person. But what I've learned is that certain people have certain gifts, and also they have different personalities, and they're also at different parts of the spectrum in their life and their healing. And so maybe sometimes you got to just, like you said, back off, and you let somebody else help them, or you let them walk with God, you let them walk with the universe, and the universe will eventually like veil these things so that they can see, you know. So it's kind of important that we kind of learn that push pull and when to come in and when to step out. And I just love how she basically said that if you're pushing them in the wrong direction, let them go. Of course, guys, be thoughtful. We've talked before about serious situations such as suicide, depression, things that can lead people into very dark containers, and they need a lifeline. Make sure you're providing in those type, in the real full end of the spectrum on the bad end. If you know somebody, you don't just push somebody in the wrong direction and let them go and then see what happens. You got to make sure you're providing some type of lifeline. But you know, if you're in general situations and you're working on your spiritual process, you know that you become a poison to that person or they have to you, it's time to take a break, step away. All right, so it's been wonderful reading and talking with you. When you do get a chance, I hope you will hit like and subscribe and leave your positive comments. I so look forward to hearing them. And I hope you are seeing that you are the magic of everyday life. And the magic of everyday life is in you, and it's all around you. All right. You know what's next. You know what's next. Peace in, peace out.